We are now in 9-3, so day 2. Day 1, we saw if it was geometric, arithmetic, or neither, correct?
Yes.
Arithmetic has a common what?
Has a common
Difference. You two need to stop. Okay, arithmetic has a common difference. I found it by taking the second minus the first, third minus the second, right? Geometric has a common what? Ratio. And I get it by doing what? Dividing what?
The second number by the first number.
The second by the first, the third by the second, the fourth by the third. Same thing, but you're dividing. Okay, so the definition, formula, equation, I'm using all those words because on the test you're going to be asked to do a definition, a formula, and an equation, and you need to know they're all the what? Same thing. Is a sub n equals a sub 1 times r to the n minus 1. So if I wrote out the two equations, you should definitely know which one's arithmetic and which one's geometric because there's a d in the arithmetic, right? And an r in the geometric. So a sub 1 is the first term, r is the common ratio, n minus 1. That's pretty straightforward. It says write the first 5 terms of a geometric sequence for which a sub 1 is 3 and whose common ratio is -2. And not -2, 2. And so we need to write an equation, always write an equation first. Move my box over here. So a sub n equals, what's a sub 1? 3? Is that better?
Yeah.
That seems really dark. Are you guys good?
I'm good.
Okay. So 3, what's my common ratio? 2 to the n minus 1. Now technically that is written, right? But we don't usually see formulas that say to the n minus 1, do we? So we probably need to simplify this a little bit more. Well, when I subtract exponents, what does that mean I'm doing?
Going to the one before.
But when I subtract exponents,
You're going for
am I multiplying or dividing? Dividing. Okay? So this came from, this n minus 1 came from 3 times 2 to the n divided by 2 to the what?
1.
First. Correct? So since this is multiplication, I can move this 2 down here wherever I want, right? So I can make it 3 halves times 2 to the n, couldn't I? See that? Now, you may think this looks worse to do than this, but every time I put in a number for n, my 2's are going to reduce 1 power, right? So it still gives me that n minus 1. So when I do a sub 1, I'm going to come in here, so I have 3 halves. And if you want to put this 2 over 1, you can. I don't care. So what's going to happen to my 2's?
I can't, or reduce.
They're going to reduce, and I'm going to end up with 3. Is that what I should have ended up with? Yes. So did I do that right?
What do you mean they're going to reduce?
Because this 2 and this 2 would reduce to 1. So my answer would be 3. So a sub 2. I plug in a what? 2.
So why not just leave it?
So I 3 halves 2 to the second over 1 because it's not simplified. This is a nice simplified equation that we give people. We don't give equations with n minus 1 in the exponent, typically. And also, if you think about it, it can confuse you between it and a recursive definition, yes? Because the recursive definitions are going to have that n minus 1, n minus 2 in them. Okay, so then one of my degrees of my 2 reduces, yes? So 2 times 3 is 6. A sub 3,
Like a three.
plug in the 3. So 3 halves times 2 to the third. And one of my exponents is going to reduce. So 2 squared is 4 times 3 is 12, yes. And a sub 4 and a sub 5. Do those on your own.
So
Yes.
when you take the 2 out from under the 3, you just take the other one.
Because I just didn't put it over 1, but your 2 to the n isn't over 1. So you can reduce your numerators and denominators. Okay, did you get 24 and 48?
Yep.
Okay. So I will accept either answer. If you leave it like this, you're going to get minus a half. The half a point. Okay? If you finish it off, you're going to get your whole points. In the textbook, they leave most of their answers like this. But like I'm saying, that is not a nice, complete, simplified equation. And we want to practice that. We want to practice using our exponents and reciprocating things and using our powers. And this is a nice, safe way to do it because it's only minus 1, so it's just over itself. Okay, it says write a definition and find the 12th term of the geometric sequence. So if I didn't tell you it is geometric, which I am not going to do on the test, how would you know that this isn't arithmetic?
Because it goes up, or like,
Difference.
It's like 10 and then 30, right? So it'd have to be geometric. So how do I verify it's geometric?
I didn't know.
15 divided by 5 and 45 divided by
15.
15. So they should equal, yes?
3.
So it's 3, 3, so it's 3. So my common ratio is 3. So write your definition and try to simplify it on your own. Okay, so it's 5 times 3 to the n minus 1, right?
Yeah.
And then when I simplify it, it's going to be 5/3 times 3 to the n. And now what term does it want? The 12th, so all I do is plug in what? 12. So I have 5/3 times 3 to the 12th, which gives me 5 times 3 to the 11th. And we don't know 3 to the 11th. So on the test, you would leave it like that.
Okay, so if it's like beyond 1,
Yeah. Like 2 to the, what is it? 2 to the, 2 to the 8th, to the 10th, I probably could get you to do, because that's 16 squared. But when you get 3, like 4, that would be the highest. Because 3 times 3 is what, guys? 9. 9 times 9 is 81, so that'd be 3 to the 4th. So, but 2s I expect you to work out pretty high. Why? Because they're easy, right? Questions before we move on? Okay,
Divide.
divide them, right? So I'm going to have negative 2 over 6. And then I'm going to have 2/3 divided by negative 2. Ooh. So what do I do when I'm dividing a fraction? I multiply by the reciprocal. So this would be negative 1 over 2. And this reduces to negative 1/3, yes?
Yeah.
And these 2's would reduce, so it also reduces to what? Negative 1/3. So what's my R?
Negative 1/3.
Negative 1/3. Say that again.
Yeah, never mind.
Okay. So this is my R. So A sub n equals what?
1/3 over.
Well, let's do it 6
Six
Six.
times
times
1/3
negative 1/3
n minus
to the n minus 1.
Which equals.
Now, that equals, this is where it gets a little tricky. The other one wasn't too bad, right?
A sub n 6 over negative 1/3.
Okay, it's going to be negative 1/3 to the n, yes?
Yeah.
Over negative 1/3. So to get this negative 1/3 out of the denominator, I have to multiply by its what? Reciprocal, which would be 3. So I'm going to multiply by negative 3, so I'm going to have what? Negative 18 times negative 1/3 to the n.
Sure. There you go.
Okay, what is the reciprocal of negative 1/3?
3 over 1.
Negative 3 over 1. So negative 3 times 6 is negative 18.
Oh, okay.
Okay, again, I will accept this with minus a half. I'll accept that with minus a half. So I challenge you to work on this. If you're showing me your work and you got this right and you messed this up, it's not going to hurt you by trying at least, correct? Okay. And we need the what term? 10. Okay, so a sub 10 equals negative 18 times negative 1/3 to the 10th. And that 10 goes to the numerator, yes, and the denominator. And if I take a negative times itself 10 times, is it going to be a negative or a positive? Positive, because of that rule, right? So this is going to be negative 18 times 1 over 3 to the 10th. Is there a 3 in 18? How many?
6.
6.
There's 6 3's in 18?
Yeah.
Yes?
So it'd be.
So I can take, this is, no, yeah, okay, I get what you're saying now. No. Okay, this is 3 squared times 2, yes? You guys were thinking, I was like, no, there's not 6. I didn't know how to, you guys were thinking, like, if I just took and added, if I added 3, I'd have 6 of them, yes? But we need to think multiplication when we're reducing, don't we? So there's 3 squared times 2 is 18, isn't it? So how many 3's can I reduce?
2.
2. So this becomes 8.
That one becomes.
So this is negative 2 over 3 to the what? 8? So we're going to have to be using our reducing fractions and exponents, all those rules that we've used in the past.
But why did you get a negative 2? Yeah.
Because this is a negative 18.
So you just don't bother with the 18 anymore after you.
Well, the 18 was 3 squared times 2.
Oh.
And we could reduce
Why
9.
can't it be 6 times 3?
Well, I'm trying to reduce out 3's. Okay, 6 times 3 is 3 times 2 times 3, yes?
Yeah.
So how many 3's do I have in the numerator that I can reduce out? 2. If you just left it 6 times 3, you would have 6 over 3 to the 9th. Would that be correct? Is that completely reduced? 6 over 3 to the 9th. Is that completely reduced?
No, but the 18 just disappears.
It doesn't just you're reducing things.
Where does the 2 come from on top?
Because 2 times 9. Right here. 2 times 9 is 18. And 9 is 3 squared, yes? Okay. Okay, the 4th term of the geometric sequence is 125. And the 10th term is 125 over 64. Find the 14th term. So I've got a sub 4 equals 125, yes? And I got a sub 10 equals 125 over 64. And when I'm done, I want the 14th term.
How do you, oh, never mind.
Okay, now I hate the way they write that fraction, but that's how the book writes those fractions. It's hard to see that that's 125 over 64, isn't it? So always write your fractions above and below. So I need to find a definition, right? I need to find it. What is it? A sub n equals what?
A sub 1 R and then she's gonna it's for me to go home. I'll let you I know we're pretty the ones that are
You need to go down to minors. Okay, so what's my definition for geometric? A sub n equals what? A sub 1
1 plus
n minus 1. That n minus 1 was in the arithmetic, wasn't it? That n minus 1?
Yeah.
Okay, so you need to know this. This is your equation for today. Tomorrow you have 2. Okay, so I need to figure out this equation so I can plug in 14 to get the 14th term, don't I? Now with arithmetic, we put them back to a sub 1. We're going to do the same thing here. I'm going to put this a sub 4 and make it my a sub 1. Just for the start. So if it is a sub 1 equals 125, what would that make 10? 7? Okay, 5, 4, 3, I'm counting down. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 7. How do I figure it out without using my fingers?
You subtract and add.
Subtract and add 1. So 10 minus 4 is 6 plus 1 is 7. So now that I have this, can I plug it in and solve for R? If I made my if I have a sub 1 now, can I plug it in and solve for R?
Yeah.
I should be able to, right? So this is my a sub 1, my n is 7, and my a sub n is what? 125 over 64. So I have 125 over 64 equals a sub 1, which is 125. Put your feet on the floor. You ever squeak in there? And we need R. And our n is what? 7 minus 1. Okay, so now I need to solve for R. So this is multiplication over here. So how am I going to move the 125? Divide. So dividing is multiplying by the reciprocal, correct? So the 125 is reduced out here. And I have R to the 6th. It's a bad 6, but it's 6. And it just keeps getting worse. It is recording, it's not lagging. Okay, 125, 125 reduce here, don't they?
Yeah.
So I get what? 164. So I'm going to have to take the sixth root to get rid of the sixth, correct? The r to the sixth. Okay, so I need to break this down. Hopefully it's a number I know. What number do you think might be this?
With
Well, you know it's 8 times 8, yes?
Yeah.
But I need to get it 6, so it probably is what? 2. Because this is 8 times 8, yes? Yeah?
So
And 8 is 2 to the what?
2 to the 6.
2 to the third times 2 to the third
Equals
gives me 2 to the
2 to the
6.
Oh, so
Okay?
Yeah, we were ahead of the game.
Yeah, I figured you were. So now I take the what root of both sides? 6th root. How do I know I take the 6th root?
Because
Because the r is to the what?
it just makes sense.
The r is to the 6th. If the r was to the 8th, what root would you take? The 8th root.
Why did we put 7 in for n if we're trying to find the 14th term?
We're finding the equation right now. We don't know what r is.
So why do we put in 7? Like, was that just a random number?
No, right here. We moved a sub 4 to a sub 1, and so that would make a sub 10 7. Okay, so now I have, what does r equal?
half.
1/2. Because the
You know
6th root of 1 is 1, yes?
Yes.
And the 6th root of 2 to the 6th is
Just 2.
2. So my r,
Oh, I was just gonna take off.
okay, r is 1/2. Now to get my definition, I now need to find what? A sub 1.
But we already did it.
No, we started with a sub 4, and we said, okay, for this purpose to figure out what r is, we're going to say a sub 4 is my first term. So we made a sub 1.
Oh.
So now we need to go find the real first term. So we're going to go back here. And which one would you like to do, a sub 4 or a sub 5? A sub 4? Okay, so this now is our n is 4, and our a sub n is what? 125. So I have 125 equals, we're looking for a sub 1 now, aren't we? And what is r?
Half.
1/2.
Maybe your thing isn't recording.
It might not be now.
See, Tori, what happens when I say it?
Yeah,
Whoa. Pablo Picasso.
Style.
Okay, so what is our r?
Half.
Half. Okay, so a sub 1 and our r is 1/2. And our n is what?
4 minus
4 minus 1.
Hmm.
So I have 125 equals a sub 1 times 1/2 to the third, yes?
Yeah.
So 1 to the third is 1. And 2 to the third is 8. So this is multiplication. How do I move it over?
Divide.
8 over
by the reciprocal.
Or actually, I should just say I multiply by the reciprocal, right?
Yeah.
It's so the reciprocal of 1/8 is
8 over 1.
so 8 over 1 here and 8 over 1 here. So on the right, I just have a sub 1, yes?
Yeah.
And on the left, I get to multiply by 8. So 8 times 5 is 40, or 4 is 16, and 4 is 20. So it is a what? 1,000. So now that I have a sub 1 and I have r, can I write a definition? Yes. So I have a sub n equals a sub 1
Which is 2,000.
times r, 1/2.
Where did 1,000 come from?
That's our a sub 1.
And minus
8
1.
times 125 is 1,000. To the n minus 1.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 1,000 times 1/2 to the n divided 1/2 to the first. So I have to multiply by the reciprocal of 1/2, which is what?
2.
2. So a sub n equals 2,000 times 1/2 to the n.
Yeah.
Now again, can you stop here?
Yes.
Yes,
No.
Should you?
but you should go on and try to do that. That gives you practice.
Way more complicated.
Well, but you guys need to know how to work with fractions and exponents and things like that. And it gives you an opportunity to do that because we will work with much harder fractions and
Won't you
exponents.
get the same answer if you use the first
Okay,
one and
again.
the second one?
Again, this is practice for stuff we're going to do that is much harder. And when you are given an equation, do you ever see equations given to you like that unless it's recursive?
Oh,
No. Okay. So now we need, yes, Riley.
So when you were saying like how a sub n equals 1,000 times half and minus 1, like if we keep it like that, we would only get like half.
You only miss half of a point
Is that on the like assignments or is that on the test?
on the test.
Okay.
Okay, so now we have our definition. What term did it want? 14. So I have a sub n equals 2,000. Actually, it's not a sub n anymore. It's what? 14. 2,000 times 1 over 2 to the 14th, yes?
Yes.
Okay, there's a whole bunch of 2's in 2,000, yes? Whole bunch of them. Okay, so we know it was 2 times 1,000, yes? Okay, so we can break down 1,000 more.
No, God, I don't
So
want
2
to.
times what?
It would be like 10 to the third.
Well, I'm just breaking it down. I'm not even.
So
Okay.
500.
So 1,000 is 2 times 1,000, yes?
Yes.
Okay. 1,000 is 2 times what?
10 to the third.
500.
500. 500 is 2 times what?
250.
250 is 2 times what?
125.
125. And is there a 2 in 125?
Oh,
No, it doesn't end in, it's not even, it ends in a 5.
2 to the 4th times 125.
So how many 2's? So it's 2 to the 4th times 125. So I can reduce out 4. So I get a sub 14 is 125 over 2 to the what?
10.
10. Now to the 10th we should be, well did I tell you to the 10th? I said,
Are we gonna have to do stuff like that on the test?
Yes.
We have to like find the 2,000.
you're going to have to break it down. And if you need to divide it by 2 and divide it by
You
2
said that would
exactly
be
like we
16
just did.
squared.
But I think
What?
You said
No.
that'd be 16 squared.
yeah, you said
2 times 2 is 4 times 2. So 4 to the 8th is 16. No, I'm bleh. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 squared is 16. So that's 2 to the 4th. And then you need 15, 16, 32. So you need 32 squared. So no, you can leave 2 to the 10th. Unless you want to calculate it out.
No.
So-
You didn't
Okay.
have trouble.
So that's our answer.
oh my
That's
god.
a lot of work.
Okay.
After all of
It
that-
is some work, but it's not that difficult of work. You just have to be organized. And you
Okay.
gotta get over, guys, you are going to have to do worse stuff than this, so you might as well start doing it now.
Thank you for giving me the.
Okay, the second term of a geometric series is negative 18, and the fifth term is 2/3. Find the sixth. So we're gonna do it all over again. Okay, so what's negative 18?
The second term.
So that's a sub what?
2.
2.
But we subtract 1 to get a sub 1.
We will in a second.
Oh.
Okay, what other one do we have?
That's all. No. The fifth term.
The fifth, a sub 5 is
Which will end up being the 4th.
2/3.
It's the only thing I know.
So if I move 2 back to 1, that moves 5 to what? 4. So a sub 1 equals negative 18, and a sub 4 is 2/3. So my equation is a sub n equals what? Okay. So we need to have an r and we need to have an a sub 1. and we don't have either of those. Okay, so we're gonna find a sub 1 first, or we're gonna find r first, and then we're gonna find a sub 1. So, this is our r, not our r, this is our n, and this is our a sub n, correct? Okay, so I have 2/3 equals a sub 1.
We could do the other one.
What?
Can't you use the other problem too? Or no?
No, that's on the
Wait,
next
what?
step. On the next step,
Why
we
is
Why
use-
is
2/3
2/3
the
also?
A7?
because we have a sub 1 is negative 18. So a sub n, so a sub 4 would be 2/3.
But it's A sub n, not A sub 4.
Yeah, but our a sub n here in this equation, okay, in this equation, a sub 1 equals a sub n equals a sub 1 r to the n minus 1, correct? Everyone see that? How many variables are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. We know in order to solve for a variable, you have to have everything but one, correct? So if there's 4 variables, how many things do we have to be able to solve for another?
3.
3. So a sub 1 is negative 18 because we moved it back. And then- So our 4 is going to be our n. And so our a sub n is 2/3. Okay, so a sub n is 2/3 equals a sub 1, which is negative 18. We don't know r, that's what we're looking for. What is our n?
2/3. 4 minus 1.
4 minus 1.
What is
No,
going
a
on?
sub n is our 2/3. A sub n is the value of the 4th term. N is the 4th term. None of that changes from 9-1. It's the same thing from the whole way. N was the number of terms it was. A sub n was what the term value was.
Right?
So,
It's not that hard, just stay organized, right? You'll be fine.
why do I do?
That turns into.
Now you
divide
divide.
by negative 18.
Divide by negative 18 or multiply by negative
118.
118. So my 18 has gone over here. Does 2 go in 18?
Yes, 1/9.
So 9 times 3 is
20, negative 27.
negative 27.
Why don't we want to put a negative 18 on the bottom of negative 18 r4 minus?
I did. I just didn't write it.
Oh. Okay.
Okay, r to the what?
Third.
Third. So I now need to take the what?
Square root.
The cube
third.
root.
The cube root because it's
3
3.
to the third.
Can you quit getting ahead of the game? Please?
So I'm hoping that 27 is a perfect cube. And it is. It's 3 cubed. Yes?
Oh
3
my
to the
god.
third.
So this is 3 to the third. So when I take the cube root of negative 1, I get negative 1. When I take the cube root of 3 to the third, I get 3. So our r is negative 1/3.
I'm confused. I don't know what you just did. What the square?
Can you do
No,
the cube root of 1/27 again, just so I can
Yep.
see it?
Okay, we took the cube root, not the square root. This symbol is a radical symbol. It's not a square root, it's a radical. Okay? When we don't have any number written there, it's a square root because that's the most common that we use. This number right here is your index. It tells you what root you're taking.
There, there's a number there though.
Yes, there is.
So why?
This is r cubed. I have to get it down to just 1 r. So the r over here dictates to me what root I'm going to take. So it's r cubed, so I'm going to take the cube root. Like the last one was r to the whatever, I don't remember. It was 6. It was r to the 6th, so we took the 6th root. So this one is r cubed, so we're going to take the cube root on both sides. So the cube root of negative 1 is negative 1. Because negative 1 times negative 1 times negative 1 gives you negative 1. 27 is 3 cubed.
Okay.
So the cube root of 3 cubed is 3.
Why? What did you do with the one? Like There's too many threes. Okay. So you see the 3, and then it goes by like 3 to the square root of 3. What happens to that, like that small 3?
That just tells you what root you're looking for.
So do you just like
This
factor
is-
it out or something?
No. All you have there is this number right here tells you what root you're looking for.
Okay.
I'm looking for groups of what? 3. If this was a 7, I would be looking for groups of what? 7. So this is just an index. This 3 is just an index. It says I need groups of 3. So 27 is 3 cubed. So when I take the cube root of 3 cubed, I just get 3.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. So now I have my R. I need to find my what? A sub 1. So now when I find a sub 1, so the first step was to find R. In an arithmetic, the first step was to find the D, wasn't it? The next step is to find what? A sub 1. Now to find a sub 1, this group was used to find R. This group is used to find a sub 1. Does it matter which one I use?
No.
No, it doesn't. Alex, you need to stand up because you've been asleep for quite a while. So, what do you guys want to use? 2 or 5?
2.
2. Okay, so 2 is my n, and negative 18 is my what? A sub n. So a sub n is like negative 18 equals a sub 1. What's my r?
1/3.
Negative 1/3
2 minus 1.
to the 2 minus 1. Okay, 2 minus 1 is what?
1.
1. So negative 1/3 I need to bring over to the other side, so I need to multiply by negative 3. So negative 3 and negative 3. Yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, a negative times a negative is a
Positive.
positive. So 3 times 8 is 4. Period 2 is 54.
Oh my god, now we can solve it.
So now I have a sub 1 and I have r. So what do I do now?
You put it in for.
I'm going to write my equation, right? Actually, I'll do that down here. So then over here we'll find a sub 6. So a sub n equals a sub 1, which is
54
54
times 1/3.
negative 1/3 to the n minus 1.
But you can't leave it there. No, you'll lose that.
Okay? So basically all this does is tell me to multiply by the reciprocal. Every single time we've multiplied by the reciprocal, yes? Because this is divided by negative 1/3. So I need to multiply this by negative what? 3. That was interesting. So a sub n equals negative 162?
Yep.
Times negative 1/3 to the n. I just took negative 3 times 54, which is negative 162.
Oh my god.
Okay, so there's my equation. I need to find what?
A
sub
sub 6.
A sub 6. So I have negative 162 times negative 1 over 3 to the 6.
You have to find out how many 3s are in 162.
Okay, we need to figure out how many 3s are in 162. For just a second. First of all, we took 162 times 3 to get 54, yes? So I got 3 times 54 if that helps us where to start. Okay, now 54 is what times what?
9 times 3.
Just say
18 times 3.
18 times 3, or anybody else 6 times 9? I would have done 6 times 9.
I said 9 times 6.
9 times 6. It doesn't matter. I like 9 times 6 because I can see how many 3s are in there already. Okay, how many 3s are in 9?
3.
2.
No,
2. There's 2 3s in 9,
And there's 1 3.
and there's 1 3 and 6.
So
Oh,
three,
God.
four.
So this is 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 2. Okay?
I don't like this.
Why not? It's actually really.
Oh,
Wouldn't it be
wait a
easier to
second.
solve 3
This
to the
is
6?
This is the 6. That -1's going to become a what?
Positive.
Positive. Okay.
Wouldn't it be easier to solve 3 to the 6?
No.
Like, can I do that if I wanted to?
Well, how many 3's do I have here?
4.
4. So this gives me 3 what?
The
Squared. I'd much rather have 3 squared than 3 to the 6.
Why would that turn positive again?
Because if I take -1 times itself 6 times,
Oh man. Oh man.
so I get 2 over
1.
9. Oh, -2.
Yep.
Oh, I forgot about that.
-2/9.
Okay, so it is always easier to reduce before you multiply. Because if you would have, Maddie, if you would have done 3 to the 6, 3 to the 6 is 3 times 3 times 3, so it's 27 squared. Okay, so you would have had to figure out 27 squared. And then you would have had -162 over 27 squared, whatever that was, and you'd walk away and never reduce it, and you'd be wrong. So you need to reduce, and reducing before you multiply is always easier than after. And if it takes you a minute to break it down, then break it down. That's what we did. I didn't just know there was 4 3's in there.
Oh wait.
Hey, no, that's fine. That's tomorrow's.
Thank gosh. Question
Yes.
on the equation, like before this one?
This?
No, like way before this one, like when we were finding this 1,000. That one slide before this. Yeah.
Okay.
So when it's saying like 1 over 2/6, and then
The 6th root?
yeah, why is R equals 1/2 when it's 1 equals 2/6 in there?
This is 1 equals, shh, guys. It's 1 over 2 to the 6th.
Yeah. So why is it like
Because there's 6 2's.
And this is 9/3/2.
so what happens
Yes.
to 6?
Okay. This 6 right here tells you the size of the group you're looking for.
Yeah.
I have one group of 6 2's.
Mm-hmm.
So I bring out 1 2. Nothing happens with the 6. That's how it reduces. Okay. What's the answer to that?
2.
2. Because you are looking, there's no number here, but what is that number there?
1.
It's a 2. You're looking for groups of what?
So
2.
okay.
So this is 2 times 2, yes?
Mhm.
So you have one group of 2.
Oh my god.
Same
So
thing.
so then with the 27s we just put that to 3 because 3 times 30 times 30 is 27. Okay. Yep. I have it all in my head, guys.